Alright,
I'm Fred.
and I'm Josh.
And welcome to the 2021 Hottest Noodles of the Year Christmas Special. We're looking forward to going back to our list from last year and making some amendments and seeing what the hots of this year's been.
Exactly, and this top 10 tier list, just to put a disclaimer out there, we're not trying to do it accurately to how many Scoville heat units each pack should have, so therefore it should be hotter than the other one. This is about our genuine experience during and the aftermath of having these noodles. So if you know, everyone's tier is different, but I think it'll be interesting to see what our kind of reactions were to each one.
Definitely. So I guess I'll get us started.
Over to the number 10.
So for my number 10 spot, after reviewing all the noodles, I had to give it to Paldo Octopus. Actually, so this was the second challenge I had ever done, and this was the first challenge I'd ever completed. And I was looking back at it, and with all the noodles we'd had now, you know, I got through it and I needed milk afterwards. But now I've tried more of the Samyang collection, and you know, I've had quite a good time with those and completed some of those challenges. It wasn't really that hot going from the original Samyang to the Paldo. It was such a difference. I mean, it was from me having a few bites of the Samyang and I was like, oh no, I'm done, to being, whoa, this is actually doable. So that had to take my number 10 spot.
Very interesting. Okay, so my number 10, I'm going to go with the original Samyang hot fire chicken. It was our very first video challenge that we'd done. We must have done it at like 2 o'clock or half 2 in the morning.
Yeah, it was really late.
That's why if you notice in the video, like when we're talking at a very low volume because we didn't want to wake up anyone in the house or anything like that. So yeah, we were literally trying these out for the very first time. And I think, yeah, you know, even though it was manageable, it definitely, it took me by surprise how hot they were considering there was sort of supermarket packet noodles. Yeah, so I would say to start off with the number 10, I'll go with Samyang hot fried chicken. Okay. So we're looking at numero
9. So my number 9 spot, I gave it to Samyang Carbo.
Really?
Yeah, I did give it to Samyang Carbo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No way did I see that coming.
I was looking back, and the Samyang Carbo was so strange because it was a creamy, spicy mess, and it was kind of tasty. But I had to compare it to the octopus, and I kind of got through the octopus, and I got through the Carbo, but it was more sickening, and that kind of added to the experience. So, you know, and especially after all I'd eaten beforehand, I had to give it to Carbo. Yeah.
Yeah, my number 9. Let me just double check that, but I think it's the Samyang Mala.
Okay.
Reason being is because Mala was it numbing spice or what's the meaning? I think that is exactly what it is. It's a very dry heat. Those sort of Szechuan peppercorns in the noodles. I think because of that, there was no added flavour to kind of take away from the pain of the spice, if that makes sense. So because it was so dry, all I could focus on was the heat, and this was more of a challenge of just getting through it. I wasn't really enjoying it, but you know, yeah, it was something that, yeah, and I would say as well afterwards, you know, when you can feel like your stomach has just not settled down with it as well, I felt like it was a little bit of indigestion building up. So yeah, for me, number 9 would be the Samyang Mala. By the way, guys, I hope you're liking our Christmas t-shirts.
Yes, like the t-shirts.
Won't be available on any kind of Shopify merch site or anything like that.
It's not available anywhere.
Limited edition, Josh Ween and Fred Star.
So limited, only us have it.
Yeah.
So, for my number 8 spot, Ocho, I put the Samyang original.
Okay.
Hot fire chicken. So, what's amazing is that even now, I think the Samyang original has just got the recipe right, because up until that point I'd never eaten anything so spicy in my life, nothing near it. So when I came to that and I was sitting with Josh, I was like, what, 14, 15, and we sat at maybe 14, and we ate that, and I was just blown away. Oh no, I was 15, by how hot it was. And it was just spicier than anything I'd ever eaten, ever.
Okay, so
Good advice.
Joshua's number 8.
I want to look at this.
I put the dieback ghost chili cup noodles.
Oh yeah.
Reason why is just because as well it was a small cup noodle, you know, container thing. So it wasn't a lot to eat, but considering what was in it, it actually did live up to that sort of pack a punch in sort of hot, like heat flavour. I reckon if it had the same volume as some of the other packet noodles, it would actually be really hot, like really like almost like top 5 plus tier. But considering what it was, and these were the Malaysian ghost chili noodles. All right, yeah, no, I do find that was going to be my number 8.
So my number 7 was Samyang stew. Just by watching the video, ignoring spice, I really hated Samyang stew, and I think in our previous video on our top 10 I mentioned that it smelled like perfume, Sauvage perfume specifically, and it was really spicy and there was a lot of water, like broth that you had to get through, but it was just so horrible. I thought it was gross. I couldn't eat it, and it just, like Josh was explaining earlier, it gave me that sick belly, horrible, just I couldn't eat it. It was too spicy, and there was too much of it, and it wasn't nice to eat. And just that mixture of, it was just not good, and it had to rank above. That's the first ramen I ate where I was like, wow, this is very undoable. This was
So my number 7, I would give that to the Paldo Volcano.
Okay.
Noodles. I think the reason why for that as well is because of what we did. So we did like this 5-minute afterburn thing, where and it was. I'm trying to remember if this was a sudden change, like where we decided to do it.
We kind of in the heat of the moment. Yeah. Joshua turned to me and he went, right, let's do an afterburn. I was like, what's that? I didn't know what that was, and it was like, we're just gonna sit here and deal with the heat. I was like, what?
Oh, I think we had like some meditation music as well from Alexa. So we were like literally trying to like zone in. It was so stupid, but yeah, I had to close my eyes and concentrate. Freddie was like knocking the table to try and like get through it. So I just remember that all in all being like quite almost like a panicky experience. It's like, we need to get through this quickly. So yeah, I'd put that as number 7.
Cool. My number 6 spot goes to Samyang Mala. So the interesting thing about the mala is that Szechuan was kind of popular at the time as like a flavour, and it was used in loads of things, and we saw these noodles and I was like, oh yeah, great. But the Szechuan was unlike, even to this day, I don't think I've eaten any noodles or spice that had the same kind of just dry, like if you imagine every one of our other challenges are kind of, you're like in the sea, this was like the desert. There was no, even though we were having fluid, it was just it was burning on our tongues. And although it certainly wasn't the spice, it wasn't the spiciest on the surface level of what we'd eaten by far. But because of how it made your mouth feel, it felt like it was far spicier than anything we'd eaten, and it made it really tough to get through. And it tasted alright. The mala was an interesting flavour, but it was so bitter and strong. It was just a real challenge. I really struggled with it.
My number 6, I'm gonna give it to the Samyang 2X.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like for me, that was the first time I sort of experienced something outside of mouth burn, watery eyes, dribbly nose, just the kind of regular symptoms of having spicy food. Actually having the prickly ears or having that ringing sensation, that was like for me something I'd never experienced before. So I knew actually at that point of that video, it's probably the hottest thing I've ever gone through myself. And so I wasn't sure how to deal with it, because usually I love spicy food anyway, but this one, it got to a point, and we also had like 5 packs.
Yeah, we had a ridiculous amount of food on the table, and it was my 16th birthday, so we had to up the ante, and it was just so much food.
So yeah, that was my number 6.
An achievement. So my number 5, I have to give it to the million Scoville heat unit ghost pepper cup noodle. That was, I found that very funny.
That was the
million. But yeah, that was seriously hard. I mean, I managed to get through it, which is unlike most of the challenges we've done. But it was seriously hard. I mean, I was mentally getting myself through it because I'd eaten quite a lot of hot noodles up to that point, and quite frequently. So I'd kind of pre-prepared myself. But then when it came down to it, I was in real trouble and really bad stomach pain after. Real trouble with the bathroom. But the flavour wasn't terrible, but it was just so. If there was more of it, if it wasn't in a cup and it was in like a real kind of instant noodle pack, I don't think I would have finished it.
Doing translation, so just want to say well done on achieving that.
Thanks.
That's not easy to do. And back to the classic, the famous, or the infamous, the sink.
The sink or a tap.
And I'm still trying to ask you to sport the merch.
Oh yeah. It's got my hair. I just when we have our big store up, we need that to be the advert.
We'll do that. Right. What are we doing? Number 5?
Number 5. No, yeah, you're doing number 5.
I'm doing number 5, right?
Yeah.
Do I start? Yeah.
Because I just did my number 5. That was not my number 5.
That was your 5, right?
Yeah.
Alright, sweet. My number 5 was the Samyang 10X.
Yeah.
Now, this was one I didn't finish, but the reason why is because I think we've done 4 packs, and I genuinely couldn't eat 4 packets of that heat. So technically, I was having that 40,000 shoe if you think of it like that, because it was 10,000 shoe. And I just remember it was just getting really long. That's all I could experience it like. It was just, when you're eating and you don't see the bottom, you can't see the plate finishing up or nothing. I think we ate out of a wok pan, and I'm just going through these noodles. It was soupy. There was a lot of sauce because we put 4 packets of sauce in there, and obviously I was going through the motions of it as well. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was my position, the way I was sitting, but I was just getting really bad indigestion. I wasn't enjoying it. It was almost like a form of torture.
Quite an intense experience.
It was, and I think Fred, when you were doing it, I mean, we can look back at it if we need to, but yeah, I mean, for me, this was something I really tried to plow through, but I think this was it was too much. I think it was a 4 packet, so I on its own, I've eaten this actually a few times, even casually. I've had 1 pack and it's fine. I don't need to stop or nothing.
So for my number 4 spot is, funnily enough, the Samyang 10X.
Hey.
So like Josh has said, the thing that made Samyang 10X so hot was that it was kind of the sequel, in my opinion, the true sequel to the Samyang 2X. So you had Samyang original, then you had the 2X, then you had the 10X. And the 2X was really hot. I mean, I couldn't get through it. We had a big jug of water. But the 10X, it was almost like it was darker. There was something about it.
I just realised we also ate it out of a wok.
Yeah, we ate it out of a wok together.
Just eat it. It was a little bit close.
Yeah, we
can't
ate
do that nowadays.
No,
COVID and that.
Yeah, restrictions.
Yeah, so my number 4 is the Samyang Mini.
Oh.
So for me, we only had 1 packet. But if I could say, if there was some noodles that were like a pocket rocket, small but really explosive, you can imagine if there was any more, if it was more noodle block to it, and if there was more sachet volume to it, it actually would be really hot. But it was just a miniature block, normal sachet, whatever it was, and I was really surprised I could get through it, but definitely put that in my sort of at the top 4, number 4.
Okay. So my number 3 spot. My number 3 spot goes to, I call it 12,000 tube, but Samyang Mini. Once again, this is kind of the sequel to the 10X, which is meant to be, obviously. But up to this point, I hadn't mastered anything, but I'd learnt the mental game a lot better, where, a lot of this spice stuff is kind of, you have to just find that place and just try and get through it. I couldn't get through it. I certainly got farther than the 10x. I'd ate quite a few bites and I've gotten into it, but I think the words Josh used to describe the 10x worked perfectly for me. It was a rocket. It was just it. Sometimes the spice doesn't stop.
Right, bronze medal. I'm gonna give this one to the Samyang 3x, 3 times spicy. So what that equates to is over 13,000 shu. Yeah, for me, this is more one of our recent videos that we've done. Yeah, that was hot. That was sort of on the verge. I don't think I could do 2 packets of. I'm gonna let you know what. 1 packet was enough to just get through. I think that was the first challenge that I'd done where, yeah, after like doing it, I was like, yeah, I just about done that one. Like, if it was any hotter than that, I would be slowing down. I'd be sort of like, I don't know, randomly trying to start breathing properly or trying to regulate myself somehow.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had a drink after. Let me check.
I'm not sure.
Yes, that's my 3.
For my silver medal, it's taken a long time for me to toss up because there's only really 2 for me that can contend for this title. And for my number 2, it's got to be the 18 plus prohibited ramen from Japan. It's kind of unfair that our next 2 are in this list because they are so away from these other ones, in my opinion. Where the 18 plus was the first thing I'd eaten ever, where I'd really gone, if I somehow managed to get through this, I'd actually be in danger. Like, you'll see Josh, and I'll let him comment on this.
Oh my god!
We were in fear of having to call an ambulance or having to get someone in to check us out because this is when it starts actually damaging your stomach lining and stuff like that. And I remember drinking the broth because Josh was drinking the broth, and I thought I want to try it. And that is probably the hottest liquid I've ever consumed ever. And it was just way beyond anything we'd ever done ever. And to this day, I don't think I've had a broth that met that kind of expectation.
Right. My silver medal will go to the Cullies for me. Reason why, and I know there's this thing about, well, technically, was it 1.6 million, the Carolina Reaper, in terms of the volume as well. If it was as much as the 18 plus, it would be way higher, etc. I am only judging by what I'm eating at the time. Yeah, I remember, first of all, the noodles were horribly described. Like, the way they told you how to cook them, do not cook them that way. Like, I don't know why they thought you just, I can't remember how long they said, or how much water.
It was like 3.5 minutes or something.
Yeah, it was like that, and then like, I don't know, the amount of water, it wasn't enough. It was like, it was hard. Like, the actual noodles weren't cooked proper through when we first done them. I would say that chili mash was when we pierced it, I don't know if we pierced it through with a fork or whatever, because at first we couldn't smell it. We couldn't smell anything. Until we pierced it, it scented the room.
You had the rematch.
I had the rematch
Did
as well.
it twice?
Because I was adamant actually that if on a better day I could have done it. And I blamed it, I thought it was my positioning, the way I was sitting. And then I did the rematch, and it didn't really change much. It was still hot. And yeah, we both went to the toilet this time. So yeah, like, it's definitely, it was disgusting as well. There's nothing flavoursome about it. You know, it is a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. I'm just looking at the rematch now to see. I really tried to get through it.
I was afraid I had to call an ambulance or something because Josh was telling me. He's going, well, I think we need to call someone. And then I knew it was serious.
I'm in trouble.
So my number 1
Gold for Freddie
has to be the Cully's Carolina Reaper ramen noodles.
God. What is that?
They're so like
Fair treatment.
they're not edible. As much as Josh ate most of them in the rematch, which I find extremely impressive, they are just not. They're not made for human consumption. Down to how impossible they are to cook. The noodles just aren't cookable. We cooked them for a long, long time, longer than any other noodle we cooked. They wouldn't soften up. The mash is just the hottest thing ever. It filled the room with this hot, bitter scent. The flavour was so strong and harsh. It just tasted like someone had got a bunch of chilies, thrown it in some vinegar, mixed around a bag and left it in the sun for a couple months. It was just a hot, spicy mess. And you stuck that in a bowl with not enough noodles. I can't... Your body is just so wanting to reject what you're eating. It's just saying, no, I don't want it, get out. And this was just not for human beings to eat. And for that, it's in his own league as the one noodle that I don't think anyone on the planet could get through without some kind of help, or if something is just wrong with them. So yeah, that's got to be my gold medal.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. And like you said earlier, you know, it is always going to be one out of the two. So my gold spot for 2021, Josh, verdict is 18 plus prohibited noodles. So yeah, these top two are actually leaps and bounds beyond the rest of the list, which you're right, Fred, it is unfair. But also one thing about this 18 plus as a challenge itself, really soupy. 700 mils of water they say per bowl. So when we were cooking it, 1400 mils of boiling water we put in this. When you're cooking it, I thought it's really nice. It's actually nice little challenge. But that's what even got you worse, because it was like you were thinking this was going to be actually not that bad. They're saying prohibited, but we thought it was just a bit of a thing. And then as we took the first bite, I don't know what it is. It's something about that liquid as well. Like for me, it was like seeping like down my throat. And I tell you, going through this challenge, that was the first time I was actually genuinely thinking, if this carries on, we'll have to call an ambulance or something, because I can't get myself out of it. I felt like someone's pinching my heart. This is not a really good sell for them if they want to buy more these noodles. But I was struggling with breathing. My throat is closing. That is it. That's what actually scared me the most. It was actually that when I was trying to drink or eat yogurt, bread, whatever it was, I couldn't take it in. My body wasn't allowing me to take any more substance in, and I had to regurgitate. I literally was just like, I can't have it, and I had to play it out. That's what actually got me worried. I actually thought at one point my throat was closing or swelling or whatever it was, and I thought that was maybe too far for me. I was like, I wouldn't even rematch it. I thought this is the worst idea. And speaking of aftermath as well, I remember, yeah, we had to lay down. I had to go sleep. Like I had to really recover from this. So yeah, I guess that is it. There you have it. Our top 10 for 2021.
Without further ado, I've been Fred.
And I've been Josh.
And this has been the 2020 top 10 hottest ramen noodles of the year.
Enjoy.
Cool. Well, are we not recording?
Oh, what point though?
Let's go.
Oh, you gotta be shitting me.